Okay, let's go. Ready?
Rock and roll.
All right. You're listening to the Lutheran Ladies Lounge podcast. I'm Sarah.
I'm Erin.
I'm Bree.
And I'm Rachel.
And it's time for a Christmas poetry slam.
Oh, angst and grief and sorrow.
Yes.
This is a
I'm
super...
snapping my fingers now.
You're not my real dad. Sorry.
This is a super special edition of the Lutheran Ladies Lounge because this may be the only time we do it, depending on how well it goes.
It's our Christmas gift from us to you.
Right.
You're welcome.
Poetry.
No exchanges, no refunds.
No regifting.
No regifting.
Although, please share this with your friends. Hopefully, it will be good enough to share with your friends. This was born out of the creative brain of Erin, who had a poem and said, "Hey, let's do a poetry slam." I think that's how that went.
Something pretty much like that.
Pretty much like that in our meeting. So the rest of us either had poetry or wrote new poetry to share with you all today on this podcast. So we'll see how this goes. And I think, Erin, you're going to kick us off here.
I am.
All right. Tell us about your poem or just start into it.
My poem is inspired by one of my all-time favorite Christmas books / specials, Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
That's my favorite too.
Yeah,
I love the
it's so
Grinch.
good. I have a whole lot of it
Not
memorized.
a Grinch fan.
I love the Grinch.
I love the Grinch.
Rachel. Rachel is the Grinch.
I know. I am a Grinch for not loving the
Wow.
Grinch.
Wow. So
I love the who's and whoville.
But you do you, Erin. Just go with it.
I just like
Animated.
roast beast.
Oh, roast beast.
Yeah. So there's no mistaking it. But I had fun. It was one of those where I had the idea that I mulled over for actually a few years before I finally was like, I need to actually just figure this out. I would keep getting random lines of it, and I finally decided to sit down and string it all together. So here we go. All the who's down in Whoville liked sinning a lot, but the Lord, who created Whoville, did not. The Lord hated sinning, and death was the reason. It began at the beginning with a terrible treason. The Lord made a garden and filled it with treasure. Everything in it gave him great pleasure. Then he said, "It's all yours except for this one. If you eat it, you'll die, which will not be fun." The Who's cheered, yippee, and started to play. Everything was just grand till that terrible day when the devil came in and he tempted and lied. The Who's ate the forbidden, and right then they died. The Lord knew what had happened, but he asked anyway. Fingers were pointed at one and all on that day. The curse was spoken, death would begin. But the Lord loved the Who's and would not let death win. It's true, death had entered and ravaged their lives. Sin was an addiction they couldn't survive. And as sin and death spread like filth in a sewer, the Lord loved the Who's and said, "I must make a cure." Then he got an idea, an awful idea. The Lord got a wonderful, awful idea. All I need is a sacrifice. The Lord looked around, but since sacrifices are rare, there was none to be found. Did that stop our dear Lord? No, the Lord simply said, "If I can't find a sacrifice, I'll be one instead." So he named his son Jesus because he will save his people from sin and death and the grave. And what happened then? Well, on the third day, the tomb it was opened, and death Christ did slay. The word that created all things, light and life, had triumphed o'er Satan in the terrible strife, and he bought back their lives from greatest to least. And he himself, Jesus, was their feast. The end.
That was so good.
Isn't that beautiful?
I think that's
right
the
in the
episode
guts.
right there.
Right. We
That's
know.
it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that awesome?
That was amazing, Erin.
Thank you.
Nicely done.
Mine feels so flippant
you.
after that.
Stop it.
That's right. Stop
Dr.
it.
Seuss would be proud. Actually, not so proud. Dr. Seuss is not a very Christian man.
Yeah, well,
He would demand royalties.
Oh, wow. Dr. Seuss is amazing. Probably one of my favorite children's authors,
yeah.
too. And, yeah, The Grinch.
Wasn't that so lovely?
That was so good.
Probably don't often find a rhyme for sewer with cure.
I
But I
was
decided, okay.
I feel like you have to have a special kind of accent to really pull that off. But
Hey,
good job.
Hey,
Fewer.
go with it. Run with it.
I love
That's
it.
right.
Let's do this. Okay.
That's right.
All right. I think y'all elected me to go
Yeah.
second.
Yeah, you're gonna go
Do it.
second.
Okay.
It's gonna be great.
Okay,
I
so
believe in you.
this poem actually came from my husband Luther. I was telling him, I was lamenting that I was having a hard time coming up with something good to write about. I started a couple of poems and didn't finish either of them because I was bored with them. And I was lamenting, and he said, "Why don't you just write about hymn nerdery?"
Luther.
And I was like, oh, well, that might work, maybe. We'll see what I can come up with. And so what came out of that is an ode to Christmas hymns, all of them. In typical hashtag hymn nerdery form.
Okay.
This is much longer than it was meant to be, also in hymn nerdery form. So, here we go. We've reached the time of year when kind folk with good voices, or at least those who love to sing, pick up their hymnals and carol books and dash from one place to another, singing Christmas cheer, even if it's still Advent, but we won't talk about that. The joy to the worlds, and angels we have heard on highs, and O little town of Bethlehem's float through the air. But this year, it's my turn. It's my turn to pick the carols. That's right, they've chosen the hymn nerd to pick the favorites. Do they know that's nearly impossible? It's like a kid picking just one candy in the candy store. How do you pick just 10 to sing over and over at each new place? And what about the Advent hymns? Since that's really the season we're in, but that's another soapbox for another poem. So I pull out my hymnal and I leaf through the pages, not to mention the English carol book with all of the rest of the favorites. We'll need a 10-part carol episode by the time I'm done. As an aside, I may not always love English hymns, sorry not sorry, but the English certainly know how to sing Christmas carols. 10. I must pick 10 from the 63 Advent and Christmas hymns in the hymnal. Do I choose by the tune, or the text, or the harmony? What about the date, or the author, or the composer? Oh Lord, how shall I meet you? Oh wait, that would be a great one. Read by Paul Gerhardt and all. Mark that as number 1. No one will mind the 7 stanzas, will they? 9 more. I can do this. Ray Fun Williams needs to make an appearance, of course. The glorious Lo He Comes with Clouds Descending will do it. It's beautiful, it's soaring, with luscious text. Mark that as number 2. I'm not going to make it to Christmas at this rate. Comfort, comfort ye, my people, must be another. How many hymns do we still get to sing ye? It's a French tune, too, so there's that. Mark that as number 3. We must dance to one and hear about Mary and Gabriel. The angel Gabriel from heaven came is just the one. I mean, wings of snow and eyes of flame. Mark that as number 4. Okay, just one more Advent hymn because we can't not sing it. O come, Emmanuel is the perfect bridge. It's ancient, and the O antiphons mark beautifully the names of the coming Christ. Mark that as number 5. I made it to Christmas hymns, but I only get 5 more. Hold on to your hats, folks. Wait. Time out. 5 more. There's no way I can pick 5 from the 34 Christmas hymns. I might have to throw in a few extra and see if anyone notices. Here goes. No one will mind singing 15 stanzas, will they? It's Martin Luther's classic Christmas hymn, so we'll power through. From heaven above to earth I come. Could just finish out the rest of the day, but we'll keep going. Mark that as number 6. Lo, how a rose ere blooming must be next. Have you sung the harmony on this one? Mark that as number 7. Paul Gerhardt makes a lot of appearances in the Christmas section, and this is one of my favorite Christmas hymns. Yeah, I said it. All my heart again rejoices is next. Mark that as number 8. The debate over which tune to sing O Little Town of Bethlehem to will not make an appearance on my list. We'll sing the tune Forest, but the text will be Stephen Starkey's O Sing of Christ. Actually, this might be my favorite Christmas hymn. It's Starkey plus Vaughan Williams plus lots of Jesus, the trifecta. Mark that as number 9. There's no way this list will only be 10. Because Silent Night has to be next. Sing it with candles, y'all. Mark that as number 10. Uh-oh. There's more. I failed at only picking 10. There's just no way. I must keep going. Do you know Isaiah would be there? The imagery from Yaroslav Vaida has to make the list. Where shepherds lately knelt is just the one. Mark that as number 10 plus 1. Another Paul Gerhardt. Maybe I should just have picked 10 Gerhardts? Oh, Jesus Christ, thy manger is must be on the list. My soul reclines at the paradise that is Christ's manger. Mark that as 10 plus 2. Once in Royal David City is a classic. We'll need to wrangle someone to sing the solo first verse. Mark that as 10 plus 3. If you're a Bach fan, you have to sing Break Forth, O Beauteous Heavenly Light. Mark that as 10 plus 4. They're never going to ask me to do this again. O come all ye faithful, 10 plus 5. Hark the herald angels sing, 10 plus 6. We praise you, Jesus, at your birth. Wonderful Martin Luther text, 10 plus 7. A great and mighty wonder, 10 plus 8. Of course, of the Father's love begotten, have to have some good chant, 10 plus 9. Now sing we now rejoice, 10 plus 10. And finally, I made it to the end. Joy to the world, 10 plus 11. I should have known I couldn't pick just 10. 21 is fine too, right? Let's go caroling, y'all. Clear your calendars. Bring your hymnals. Bring your voices. Bring snacks. We're just going to sing all of them. Carol-palooza. The end.
That was hilarious. Is that what you're like? Is that what how your brain processes all the time?
Yep.
I want your brain.
That's literally my thought process.
Amazing.
Picking hymns. You're welcome.
Good. You're welcome.
That's
that
delightful.
Was good.
There are some in there that I am not familiar with.
We need to sing them all.
That's quite the dilemma, though. You're absolutely right.
There's so many.
There are some in there that I'm not as big a fan of as you are.
Yeah, well, I was.
It's a good thing that people couldn't see my face. Because like 19 out of 21, I was just cheering, and 2 of them my face fell. Like, really?
Which ones?
I won't say which 2.
Oh,
nope, not going to
okay.
say.
I'm
Lady
curious,
never tells.
though.
You're a
All
peacemaker.
Fine.
Maybe when we're mixing down, you can tell us.
Peacekeeper. You're
It's
a peacekeeper,
true.
not a maker. Peacekeeper.
All right. My hymn nerdery is done.
That was funny.
That was so
Excellent.
fun.
That
I got so into my hymnal while I was writing it. I was so frustrated at one point because I was only halfway through and I wanted the poem to be done and it wasn't.
Sometimes desperation is our greatest motivator.
All right, Bree, it's your turn.
All right, I'm going to bring it back into the realm of rhyme and verse with a limerick, but I like to put some respect on the name, so it's a limerichard. Mm-hmm. It's a Christmas story, limerichard.
I wondered how I got that name. It's really funny.
There once was a man from Judea who could build you a boat if you needed. And when to his surprise his betrothed was with child, he'd give Mary a dignified, "See ya." When Joseph lied down for a snooze, an angel appeared with good news. "Do not fear for your life. Take this girl as your wife. She's bearing the King of the Jews." So Joseph awoke from his dream and took Mary to be on his team. Then came a dictation. the whole world's registration, a ruling from Caesar Supreme. I'd just like to point out right here, Caesar Supreme sounds like a pizza. I'm so hungry. Joseph was a follower of rules, so he hoisted his wife on a mule. They would not be dissuaded from the city of David, though the journey was not minuscule. In Bethlehem, the pair had arrived with what seemed every person alive. Much to their chagrin, there's no room in the inn, so surely they would improvise. The innkeeper said, I am able to put you both up in a stable. It's not really fancy, but you don't have a plan C, and anything less is unstable. Boom, get it? LOL. The place was abundantly clear, and the time, it was growing near. For Mary to labor the birth of our Savior, Messiah was finally here. There once was a man from creation who was sent to redeem every nation. Through his death on a cross, sin and Satan have lost, and through this man we have salvation. So this Christmas let us reflect on Christ's birth and his life with respect to God's love for us. He saved us, and thus the gospel we spread with effect.
That was delightful.
That was wonderful. Thanks,
That was my first limerichard
Limerichard.
of the genre.
Hashtag iconic. Hashtag stay mad if you don't like the limerick.
It's a long hashtag.
Whatever. It's whatever.
All right. I think that brings us
Bring us home, Rachel.
to Rachel.
Okay, I'm gonna slam it.
Slam it.
Hashtag
Hashtag
I
slam
actually-
it.
I did not write a new poem for this because I had some that I was just dying to share. A couple of years ago, as sometimes happens in a small church, our kids wound up being the entire Christmas pageant
Oh.
cast. And so I ran with it and said, okay, guys, we can do the Christmas play however we want. And we had all been listening to a bunch of Hamilton around that time.
Oh, no.
So that might have been a key inspiration behind the program we came up with. The other thing was that my son said, Mom, I want to play Gabriel. Now, if you know anything about Christmas pageants, you know that Gabriel is almost never played by a boy, even though he's a he in the scripture, because there are so few roles that can be ladies.
That's true.
For the little ladies that usually and most boys don't actually want to play an angel because anyway. So I said, okay, I will cast you as Gabriel. We will put you in a white robe. We will give you a sword, and we will write the play accordingly. And so the entire play ended up being called The Thing About Angels. And that also was one of the early poems in the play, which I'm going to read to you. And I actually have a couple more. So if you decide you want to hear more from this unpublished Christmas musical, we can go there. However, if you don't, that's okay.
I feel like we'll be going there.
I feel like we can release a short.
Oh, yes. All
The
right.
extended
So
version.
anyway, but this one goes out to my son who had the guts to say, I want to play the angel of the Lord in the Christmas play. So the thing about angels. Oh, I almost forgot. I need some help for this because this was a play. I need, you know how the Bible says that they were sore afraid? Who wants to be sore afraid for me?
Me.
Yeah. I
Okay,
vote
Bree.
I feel like that's where it was
All
going.
right. All right, okay. Yeah, you do got the moxie to play sore afraid. So, you are going to be Mary, sore afraid.
Okay.
And when I point to you, make the appropriate sound effect. Okay?
Okay.
Oh boy. What could go wrong?
Okay. The thing about angels is we aren't what you think. We're not at all dainty, and we never wear pink. We are warriors of heaven, mighty messengers of God, and fear not is something we've got to say a whole lot. I'm more the kind of guy who wears a flaming sword than white lace, and my wings aren't just to fly, they up my face. There's nothing cute or cherubic about me, quite the contrary. Try absolutely blindingly, mind-numbingly out of the ordinary. I hate to have to say it, folks, but hear this. I'm scary. Oh, wait a sec. I gotta go see Mary. Hail, Mary!
Hey ho!
Hang on.
I didn't realize you were just gonna. Let's start that verse over.
I hate to have to say it, folks, but hear this. I'm scary. Oh, wait. Hang on a sec. I gotta go see Mary. Hail, Mary! Fear not! So that was I wanted to try and capture what seems to happen every time someone actually encounters an angel of the Lord in Scripture, and that is they totally are terrified.
That's what I do when I'm like,
Wings of snow and eyes of flame.
Right. Yeah. So that was my small son. At the time he was small, now he's bigger than me. Enjoyed that poem quite a lot.
Yeah, I can see why.
It's a good one.
Do you have more?
Give us one more.
I do.
Give us one for the road.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I'll go right to the end. Another key character in this play, by the way, is Joseph, who, if you listen to the Christmas pageant episode, you'll know is possibly one of my favorite characters in the Christmas pageant.
A good dude.
Good dude.
He was a good dude. So in this play, Joseph took us out at the very end with the final poem that sort of echoes a poem he had earlier called Not What I Signed Up For.
Yes.
So he then reprises this poem with This is what our God signed up for. He came to this world as a tiny child, his neck weak and floppy, his cry loud and wild, incontinent, helpless, completely dependent, swaddled in diapers, his power suspended, a king without glory, crown, throne, or attendant. And this is what our God signed up for. Here it's squalid, it's dusty, it's violent. Why must he have chosen this time and this place to get stuck? See, the Romans are ruthless. The king wants to slay him. We've got to skip town if we're going to save him. He could have stayed in heaven and skipped all the struggle, left us all to die in the muck and the rubble. He must love us madly to go to all this trouble. 'Cause this is what our God signed up for. This is what our God signed up for.
Oh, I love that one.
That was awesome.
Those are so good.
Yes.
Thanks, Rachel.
Anyway, that was my poem.
Yeah.
Not new, but
Y'all are ridiculously
It's fun.
talented. If you haven't gathered, we are creative geniuses, and you're all welcome.
Well, if you have poems, those of you in Lutheran Ladies Lounge podcast land, if you have Christmas poems, and I know some of you are actually like real authors of real poems, Lisa Clark.
Yeah.
Share them with us, post them to the page, maybe do some dramatic readings and post them as videos.
Totally
That'd be super fun.
Video yourself being part of our virtual poetry slam.
That'd be super
We would
fun.
love to hear that.
Virtual poetry
delightful.
slam. Please do it. And I know a lot of you are also super creative with words, as has been proven more than once in the comment sections. So share your own creative works with us. We'd love to see them. If you're not in the Facebook group, join our Facebook group, Lutheran Ladies Lounge. And you can find all of the rest of our episodes at kfuo.org/Lutheran Ladies Lounge or on your favorite podcasting app. Merry Christmas, y'all.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And you're listening to the Lutheran Ladies Lounge podcast. I'm Sarah.
I'm Erin.
I'm Bree.
And I'm Rachel.
Views and opinions expressed on the Lutheran Ladies Lounge podcast may not represent the official position of the management or ownership of KFUO Radio, the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod. The Lutheran Ladies Lounge is produced by KFUO Radio and available at kfuo.org or wherever you get your podcasts. Join our community on Facebook in the Lutheran Ladies Lounge.